Hi. How often do you think about the fate of the environment while you eat? When I lived in Washington State, I would often notice the fruit orchards in the process of getting sprayed with chemicals. I didn't give it much thought until I began a short-lived career in a fruit warehouse. As a sorter, I would spend 10 hours every shift picking out all the rotten fruit that rolled down the belt. I began to notice throughout the day that I would break out in rashes on my arms and my hands from being exposed to the pesticides that had been sprayed on the apples. If the apples are making me break out in rashes, how do they affect me when I eat them? How are they affecting the environment? In the United States, we spray an estimate of 1 billion pounds of pesticides every year. Pesticides are chemicals that were created to control pests. It is believed that pesticides are important because without them, we would lose more than half of our crop production to pests and diseases. But with this benefit comes a huge risk to our environment. The most commonly used pesticides are herbicides, which are intended to protect crops from weeds, fungi, and insects. This type of pesticide is applied in coated seeds and also sprayed onto the crops. In doing this, the pesticide contaminates the entirety of the plant. Flowers, fruits, leaves on plants are all treated with these chemicals, and not only do they poison the targeted pests, but other creatures feeding on them. Pesticides have heavily affected our animals and insect species that pollinate our crops. Our pollinators have declined by a whopping 40% due to pesticide use. They feed on the nectar and pollen from the contaminated plants, which affect their behavior and reduces their reproductive potential. Without our pollinators, we will also see a huge decline in our food supply because 75% of our plants are pollinated by them. Devastation also extends to mammals, birds, and reptiles. More than 90% of the chemicals that are sprayed are not even going onto the plant, but they travel elsewhere into the environment. They make their way into the soil, water, and into the streams, and can stay in the soil and on the plants anywhere from a few hours to 5 years. Not only do these chemicals poison our targeted insect species, but they also poison the animals that drink the contaminated water and eat the insects or other wildlife that has been exposed to pesticides. The poisons not only can kill these animals, but they can affect their hormones, potentially interfering with the reproductive process. The question is, can we achieve food security and avoid agricultural catastrophes without using these harmful chemicals? The answer is yes. There are other alternatives that we can use to deter pests rather than using these harmful chemicals, such as recruiting other insects to protect the crops, and natural plant and fungal sprays that can repel pests. Research shows the use of botanical pesticides is just as effective as chemical pesticides and are a lot safer to use. To put an end to this environmental crisis, we can all do our part by using organic alternatives to deter pests, rather than these harmful chemicals that destroy our wildlife and insect species, because without our insect species, there will be an end to biodiversity. Let's save biodiversity universally. For more information on organic pesticides, please visit www.gardeningknowhow.com. Thank you.